Coming up on Almost Adults.
And when I had heard Ash vs. Evil Dead was happening, I was like, this is my chance to sort of get in the room. And so I knew one of the producers, and I emailed him. I was like, I want to be the writer's assistant. And 2 weeks later, I was
No
the
way.
writer's assistant. I think I'm a stronger writer because of doing improv. If you have a great character, you can pretty much put them anywhere, and it works out very well.
Is that how you got your first gig at Code Monkeys?
That was my first gig, but yes, that is how Adam De La Pena, that wrote and created the show, he saw one of our live shows, and he asked me to come and audition. That funny voice that you do on stage, do the funny voice. And I took a minute and I was like, I think he means my voice.
Oh, my friend Gage is gonna talk to you. Oh, and John Clark, he'll be there, oh, too. Even though they're not close together, they're far away. There, one's in Tampa, the other one's in LA. Oh, Gage, what's the show called again?
Fucking, it's Almost Adults. Shit.
Almost adult. Shit.
Anyways,
We should get Audible to support our podcast, because Audible seems like it's doing a lot of independent internet people stuff.
you know what? I could probably reach out to them and put on my producing shorts.
Yeah, and then we could finish up all our episodes with like, this episode was brought to you by Audible.com. I'd be so excited to do that.
I know a friend who's sponsored by Audible, so I can talk to him about that.
Why not?
Yeah.
No skin off their nose,
No.
except for
No.
the money that they would give us.
We're stealing all that Audible revenue.
It is a good service. Like, I'd be happy to promote it. I listened to Lord of the Rings through Audible,
Oh.
and
Who narrates that?
I don't know, but there's a scene where they're walking through the forest, and they're visited by this lovely forest-dwelling man named Tom Bombadil, and this is not something that was in the film. And the guy that's narrating it starts singing the little folk song that Tom Bombadil is saying, and it's so sweet-sounding. He says, "Ho pum dum da till dum de dum."
That's awesome.
It was amazing. The balls on that guy.
I have to say, like, an audiobook is really, it's only as good as the person reading it. Like, if it's the greatest book ever
yeah.
and someone's not doing a good job, it will ruin it.
My grandmother does an excellent job. She should do Audible. She used to be a librarian. Yeah.
Ah,
So she's
yes.
really good at reading books. She actually got me into Series of Unfortunate Events. And so when the Netflix series rolled around, we did like a little book club with the episode. This episode, not sponsored by Audible. Please sponsor us.
Audible, give us money.
Give us money. Yeah, we should get this episode started.
Yeah, rev us up, Gage.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Welcome to Almost... I'm sorry, this is one of our more professional episodes. Welcome to Almost Adults. How are you doing, John Claude?
Oh, okay, you're asking me. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking.
Okay.
I really appreciate it.
We have a very special guest in Gage's studio today. We have the lovely Suzanne Kelly.
It's actually Suzanne Kiley.
Kylie?
Yes.
I've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time.
Yes.
Damn it. I was
There's
going to
no
ask her before this, like I always do, how to pronounce her last name, but I thought you had this one, Gage.
I thought I had this one too.
Keilly. That's how I know when solicitors, what are they called? Telemarketers are calling, because they always ask for Susan Kelly, and I'm like, she just is not here. So
That's technically true.
I'm gonna go.
And also, you know that it's not a close friend. Wait, if the telemarketer gets it right, do you be like, yes, tell me more?
I have to talk to them. That's my rule.
That's the rule.
That is the pact that she has made with telemarketers.
But Susie over here, can I call you Susie?
Please.
All right, Susie over here, she's done some great stuff. She's done comedy with the Groundlings. She's done acting for Code Monkeys. And she's also was the writer for this most recent season of Ash vs. Evil Dead. By the way, we're getting into spoilers, so if you don't seen it, get the H out, baby.
Oh, wait, are you pointing at me because I'm supposed to
No,
say something?
I was just snapping my fingers,
Oh.
being like, hey.
Oh, you're giving them time to get out.
Sure, why not?
Oh, that was a well-timed door slam if you choreographed
no,
that.
it's the cup holder that's attached to this table.
Oh, well, it sounded on my end like a door slam, so well, good on you.
That was a door slam. This podcast is going rather well. So, Susie,
Was I supposed to say yes?
you are a special guest today.
Thank you.
And and we were curious about sort of your background, how you sort of grew up and what inspires you about sort of comedy and acting and writing. That's a whole lot. Let's start off with just comedy.
Okay. So when I grew up in New Jersey, and I was always like, I'm going to be an actor. And so when I graduate college, I'm going to move to California, and I'm Los Angeles and Hollywood. I'm going to be an actor.
Hey, that's what I'm doing now.
Right. Who is? You are?
Oh, Gage, yeah.
Oh, Gage is.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
I'm having a terrible time
It's hard.
speaking to myself in the third person.
Yes.
Oh, also, it's very hard in Hollywood. Continue.
Oh, no, it is. But what I discovered when I got here is that acting is scary, and being on stage and scary. And so when I moved here and I started taking this acting class, but I was terrified to get on stage and ask people to do scenes and to do scenes. So I would sort of get on stage and have like stage fright. But in this particular acting class that I was in, the teacher, before he started doing like scene work with everyone, he made everyone do an improv. I had never heard of improv before. I didn't know what it was. And so you would be sitting there and he would be like, okay, Gage, go up. And you would have to start doing an activity. And then he would be like, Suzie, go. And then I have to go up and comment, and we would start a scene. Which, P.S., I've learned later, like, that's a really hard way to do an improv scene, but whatever. So I learned, it was terrifying to me because, like, even if I was like, I didn't bring any scenes in this week, I knew I'd have to get on stage and do an improv. And when I started doing it, even though I was terrified to move on stage, funny things would come out of my mouth. And so every week I would just sort of stand there awkwardly, but I would say funny things. And after a couple months of that, someone, I don't remember who, someone came up to me and said, there's this place called the Groundlings. You're good at this. There's a place called the Groundlings where this is all they do.
No way.
Since you clearly do no scenes or anything else, and you come up and do one thing and stand there and say things, you should look into it. And so I did, and I don't know if they still do, but I auditioned for the classes and I got in, and that's how I learned about, improv and sketch comedy. And should I keep going? And then when I was there, I met this woman, and she and I were kind of on the same page comedy-wise, and she was like, look, we should take this on the road. And so we did, and we did a show in LA, and we filmed it and would like send it out to different comedy festivals, and they'd be like, great, come here. And so we went, sort of started going all over the country doing our
Seems like it's happening really, really fast.
At the time?
At the time, yeah. It seemed like it was just one scene after another. Maybe it's just the way you're telling the story, but
I think it's the way I was telling the story.
Oh, okay.
A lot of heartache in between.
It seems like this took place over a week.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Very
2
long
weeks.
time.
Excuse me. Yes.
No, this is probably a few years.
Okay.
And then, but of course I wasn't getting paid to do any of these things, which is how I ended up doing reality TV.
I didn't know you did reality TV.
Because it was like in between going out and performing, I would work on reality shows. A couple. I didn't love it, so I didn't do it.
Oh, you didn't pursue it. Okay.
Yeah. So I worked on, I'm always hesitant to say this, all things considered, but I worked on The Apprentice.
All right.
And then a couple other things, and then I was like, this is terrible. I don't want to do it. I shouldn't say that. It was a great experience, and I loved all the people. I'm not a huge reality TV fan. So
That's good, because neither am I.
Yeah. And then doing that, I was like, this is not what I want to do. And so that's when I kind of got more into writing scripted things and features. And
yeah, and you've done a couple of shorts and a couple of features.
Shorts,
yeah.
yes. But basically doing the stuff on stage is how, like, any sort of acting stuff I've ever really done is because people would see the show and be like, oh, you should be in this, or come audition for that, or, yeah.
Oh, rad. Is that how you got your first gig at Code Monkeys?
That was my first gig, but yes, that is how Adam De La Pena, that wrote and created the show, he saw one of our live shows, and he asked me to come and audition. He didn't just ask me to do the role, I had to audition for. I played the part of Claire. I don't know. You know
I do know the role of Claire, yeah.
So,
did she also have red hair?
No, she has dark hair.
Oh, yeah. I'm remembering wrong.
Yeah.
Claire is the front desk
receptionist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude might know the show a little better than me.
That was the show that I would come home from school during high school, and it would be on G4 TV,
Yes.
and that would be the show that I would watch. Plus, the intro was done by Jonathan Colton, who's a great musician.
Oh, really?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you were in high school. That's funny. Yes. So Adam asked me to come and audition. Gretchen played the other character, and I can't remember the other female character's name is.
Sorry, who's Gretchen?
She was a redhead, though, I think.
Yeah, Gretchen is the
Okay,
actress. I just can't remember the name of the character.
I thought I was just making things up in
No,
my
there are
head.
actually 2 women on the show.
I
One
don't
had
believe
dark
it.
hair,
I
one
don't
had
believe
red
that.
hair.
Not for a second.
It's the truth.
There were 2 women, and then there was the character, the only name that I remember from the show because it's so significant was Black Steve.
Buck Steven, there was Mr. Lairdy, was the
And
boss.
Mr. Yep. And then the weird Chinese little boy, or the Chinese...
Benny. That was
yep.
Benny. And then there was, who was the main guy?
I don't know. I want to say it was like Dave or something
is,
very
it was Dave.
Is
You're
it Dave?
right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then who was his sidekick? Dave and
The guy that
Jerry.
always pulled down his pants. Yep, Dave and Jerry.
Jerry. So when I went into audition, it was this like super fancy studio and somewhere in Hollywood. And okay, I was like, what do you want me to do? You know, because I read it and I was like, I get this. Like, I get the character, but like, what do you want? Is there a voice? Like, what do you want me to do? Because I hadn't really done any voiceover or any animated stuff at that point. And he was like, do that funny voice you do.
Oh, no.
I was like, that funny voice I do. I was like, Adam, what funny voice? He's like, that funny voice that you do on stage. Do the funny voice. And I took a minute and I was like, I think he means my voice. So that's what I did. And that is how that voice came out, as I just did myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the origin of Claire.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic story.
Yeah, I did my funny voice. AKA
My real voice, yeah.
The scene that we did that they ended up using, but the lawyers were like, no, we cannot put this on the air, was that Dave had brought an actual live monkey into his office and I got skull fucked by it.
Awesome.
Oh, shit.
So it was me just like screaming about getting...
Monkey fucking.
Yeah.
That was the pilot?
That was in the pilot, but it never obviously...
It was a scene in the pilot.
It was a
Yeah.
scene in the pilot. It was actually on YouTube. I might actually have it somewhere because I was really proud of my work in it. But yeah, really, that's not around anymore.
You went into accounting jobs and you're like, I am pretty good at math. And also...
Getting skull fucked by a monkey.
Exactly. That's what
Yes.
accountants like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's on the requirements page of every job search.
Also, I'm not good at math. That's cool, right?
Math, we're not interested in. Monkey stuff, yes. You're
Monkey
hired.
stuff and math, yeah. I'm just trying to think of my own background in math because I got a C in trigonometry and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not good at math anymore. And then I just quit.
And you know what? Who needs trigonometry anyway? Screw
Probably
math.
scientists, rocket scientists.
Do they need trigonometry?
Probably, I guess. We're such arty, nerdy, creative people.
I mean, there are a lot of uses for trigonometry.
Whatever. You don't know.
Yeah, sound
SoundCloud
engineers can
doesn't
use
know.
trigonometry, sine and cosine functions in terms of the waveforms. Musicians use those kind of things. Sometimes it's all computer generated and things, but
Look at him talking to us with this elitist attitude.
Oh,
about
I'm sorry, I'm
doing
sorry.
Trigonometry.
Gee whiz, John.
Get out of your bubble.
this is the only thing I can talk about. You guys can talk about film. Let me have this. This is all I have.
All right. Oh,
All right.
That's sad.
This
but
and my pet monkey. These are the 2 things that I own.
keep it away from me.
So tell me a little bit more about your improv troupe during the time, because I've recently found myself doing a lot of improv comedy. I originally started doing stand-up late in my career of high school, and then when I came back from undergrad, I was doing a lot of stand-up, but it wasn't really... I didn't really think it was for me. I for some reason, I enjoyed what I did. I enjoyed being on stage and in front of people, but it didn't feel like the right set. But then I found improv and working with other people, and it's such a collaborative effort. So now I'm doing it like 4 days out of the week at nights. It's just
Really?
so... Yeah.
You want to hear something?
Sure.
My first improv class is tonight.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, the stars are aligning to talk about improv.
Wow. Where are you going?
UCB. Yeah,
And
Upright Citizens
Jean-Claude,
Brigade.
where do you take improv?
So I'm based right now in Tampa, Florida, which I don't think necessarily is a big hotspot for improv. So originally when I moved back from undergrad, my mother was actually taking an improv course, and it was cathartic for her, and that's kind of what she did. She wanted to meet new people and make some friends and stuff. And she's actually really good at stand-up comedy.
Oh, wow.
So she invited me to come check out the beginner's class that she was in, and I fell in love with it and fell in love with the class. So I did that beginner's class, and the people from that course ended up sprouting their own team out of that. So I did that with them for a while, and I'm still with them, but that I actually just recently got recruited into a more professional cast. It's at a place called the Box Theater, and it's in Ybor, if either of you are familiar with Tampa layout.
If you're ever in Tampa, Florida, check out John Claude at The Box.
At The Box,
rated
yeah.
PG-13.
Love it.
So they're really prominent in festivals around the area. So I'm really just kind of exploring that for the most part. But eventually down the road, I would love to expand out of that and just grow in that respect.
Well, I'm curious to hear what you mean as far as growing. What kind of improv do you do?
Well, the thing is, I've just realized I had class yesterday, and they started talking about the real nitty-gritty components of improv in terms of actual structures of long form. I think they were calling it like the Herald.
Yes.
And this was terminology that was never presented to me in this beginner's course that I had taken. Because I had gone from this beginner's class, and then they liked me enough to ask me to join their crew. So I was this kind of freshman joining into this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of really hoping to learn more in terms of the actual theory behind improv. And then eventually, I don't know where it's going to go, but I never want to be the best improviser in my class. And that's, I guess, what I want out of growing.
Well, it's interesting because, like I was saying earlier, when I started and when you start doing classes at the Groundlings, it's probably the same kind of stuff that you were doing in your beginner class, where there's, like the certain games that you do to learn about the rules of improv. Yes, and.
Yes.
And.
Pro in terms of like character.
Yes, exactly. And the Groundlings itself is really big on character, which I think is very cool. And as a writer, I think it's pretty amazing because I think I'm a stronger writer because of doing improv. Because the best improv comes from making the choice to have a very strong character with a very strong point of view, right? So every great character in TV and film and, and stage is all really, if you have a great character, you can pretty much put them anywhere and it works out very well. I have to say, what I find so interesting that I never knew from when I started improv is how it really can inform the great stories, like you're talking about the Heralds. And I think the one difference from doing the games to long form is with the games, you're like, you're going to do something for 2 minutes and you're going to hit a great line, then you're going to be out. You're always sort of looking for like the da-da, bam, we're out of here.
The big round of applause knowing to end the scene, someone runs across the stage to close it. That kind of thing.
I know nothing about this, so I'm getting a jump start on class tonight.
And so the Herald is, you're basically creating a play with a bunch of people that have no idea where it's going to go, but that are all on the same page to make it a great play. And I think, one of those improv games, sort of that is the introduction to that is, what is it called? A novel? Have you ever done that where everyone opens a book, you're all standing there and you open a book and someone starts a story and then another person is pointed to and you keep that story going. So you're basically like writing a story. So it's sort of like that, and you really listen and really look at what the other person is doing, really be really clear about, that. And I have to say, one of the best improv shows I have ever seen to date, I've never seen anything as good as these two guys from Chicago. Where did I see them perform? Actually, I think I saw them perform in Miami, of all places. I was at a festival in Miami years ago, and they were there. Older guys, or older, but they'd been doing this forever and were teachers and stuff. And they got on stage and they asked for a place. And someone had said, a mine. That's all they had. And for 45 minutes, they did a play. They wrote a play about these two guys like trapped in a mine. And it was one of the best plays I have ever seen. And it was, it was funny, but it was also touching. It was like a play. It wasn't like, oh my God, I'm laughing every minute, all the funny things they're saying. Like, it wasn't about getting a laugh. It was about telling the best story.
That's what I've come to love about working with this new troupe of people is in my old troupe that I still work with them. They're still wonderful people. We're all best friends. So this is not to talk down about them. But
I thought I was your best friend, John Claude.
You are, Gage. They go up and we all go up and there's this desire to have these witty quips, or if someone says something stupid, to call someone out on that, to get a short laugh, but it ends up getting that laugh, but it ends up derailing the whole entire script after the fact. And my favorite improvs that I've been doing as of late have just been they may not induce laughter out of the audience, but they've just been real. We've been trying to keep it so real, and then that's the stuff that I really find, the tangible, nitty-gritty things that it may be touching, it may hit a little bit too close to home, but that's the kind of improv I really like.
I mean, to me, anything authentic is more important than funny. Than laugh out loud funny. Because you'll leave, you'll be like, that was the best thing I ever saw. You won't be like, I was laughing so loud. It doesn't matter. You'll leave going, that was amazing. And to add to that too, I think also you really create a great group when you can get up there and when you trust everyone, like no matter what happens, we're all in this together and we all want the same thing. And it really helps you realize like teamwork and focusing, like you cannot for a second drift. You have to be so present. And I think that's incredibly exciting excited.
Oh yeah, and that's also where a lot of like the catharsis comes out of improv is you could have had the shittiest day of your life, but going into an improv class, your brain is so preoccupied with just being there in the moment. You train yourself. It's a learnable skill where you can just, it's almost yoga-esque, where you lose yourself in this play and you become this character when you do it well. You are so in the scene.
I also think, too, that it's something that everything sort of feels like something you can write and do. Like when I remember one of the scenes, like everything when we did our 2-woman show, at that point, we really didn't improv. At that point, it was all sketch. But it was all sketch based on things we had improv.
Improv, yeah.
And some of the best stuff we ever did was, I remember one time, like on the phone with Kirsten and was upset about something. And I was like crying on the phone. And I was like, and I said the most absurd, weird thing. And I stopped, and then all of crying was like, I think we need to write this down. And she was like, I'm getting a pen. And then I just went from that to like, then we just started hiding it. And it became one of our greatest sketches, is these 2 women having the most absurd phone conversation. When you're doing a lot of improv, then you can see like everything's a great story.
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with the HBO show Eastbound and Down, but that's sort of how the idea came to be. They're all like, I think it was like a kiddie pool, and they're just like goofing around, acting out. I'm not sure if they're acting out or just throwing out idea. Oh, well, now that derails the entire thing.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would be a terrible improv.
Yes.
Well, like I said, it really is. It's a learnable thing.
You'll be great. Are you nervous?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. But I'm also excited. Anxious is probably the better word.
One piece of, not that you've asked, but my one piece of advice that I would give you, I'm like a man. Oh, let me tell you how to do this.
You're mansplaining
I'm
me.
mansplaining.
Sit down, Sonny. Here's a piece of advice.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'll show you how to do this correctly. Is don't try too hard. Don't try to be funny.
Right.
Really listen. The funniest stuff will come from listening, and don't try to come up with anything funny. Just let it come organically. It will come. You'll be like, nothing's coming. I promise you it will. It will.
I think doing almost like 9 months of this, I think I have a slight edge over people who've never done it. But at the same time, yes, I'm super nervous. And yeah, I think some of the best stuff that's come from this podcast has been spur of the moment, kind of do whatever. And some of it might make a good sketch. Jean-Claude, do you remember when we were on with Sabrina and we did podcast salesman?
Yes, I do.
I would love to turn that into a sketch. It's basically salesmen going from house to house trying to just sell like a podcast that you can eat.
It ended up being a podcast that you can eat because she asked, how is this good for
like
me? And
what
we
kind
said
of
it was full of...
nutrition's happening there.
Okay.
It was something that evolved out of the improv, but you'll find, Gage, that a lot of the tenets that come out of improv, things like yes and kind of leaning into your characters and things like that, can be applied to everyday situations. You'll find that in a lot of good conversations at parties, people will just be adding on to other people's stuff. They'll be yes-anding without even knowing it. It's applicable stuff. It's great.
Jean-Claude, stop mansplaining.
And, well, I'm going to add to that mansplaining.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it also makes you good at parties because you become a good listener. Oh, I really like him. He listens to me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now it's become dating tips.
Welcome to Hot Fresh Dating Tips with Gage, Suzanne, and Jean-Claude.
Listen, you get into that date, you whip out, a graphing calculator, you show her sine and cosine functions, she will be all up on you.
Yeah, talk about trigonometry.
Talking about tangents. God, I forgot the other two. I'm the worst at improv.
No. Don't be negative. Positive.
I'm very self-depreciating.
Deprecating? I'm sorry. Oh, God. Oh, my God. What is wrong with me?
No, maybe he's just self-depreciating, like a number in trigonometry, like a hard right angle. Ooh. That made 0 sense.
Boom.
This is turning real, everybody. Yeah, we can open up the door.
Just closet.
Real quick.
Room. What is it called? The sound room?
We call it the sound closet?
Sound closet, right.
It's not close enough to a sound booth to be a booth. It's smaller than a room, so...
By the way, I opened the door temporarily to let some air in.
That's fine. I don't think that'll...
And my other cat is staring at me.
Close it quick. Here it comes. They're just
and Susie just waved at it.
I know.
She's like, hello.
And then it started coming towards us.
Like the Jaws monster.
Yes. All right, so now what? Are we done? Can I go?
Honestly, if we just shipped this off, I think we have a solid 20 minutes. We could ship it off.
Is there anything else you want to know?
No, there's a lot of things I want to know. I'm just saying we got a pretty good 20 minutes out
good.
there.
So if you're like, if the next 20 minutes are terrible,
we could just cut out that 20 minutes.
Excellent.
Just
good.
Have it a 20-minute podcast. Yeah.
Awesome.
I wanted to talk about, we covered a lot of things, but eventually you became a writer's assistant on Ash vs. Evil Dead for the first season.
Yes, I did. So after...
I'm sorry. I don't know if this connects back to Ash vs. Evil Dead, but you were also in Oz the Great and Powerful.
Yes, I was, but you won't see me in it. But yes, I didn't really make the final cut, but yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it was a fun time on set. I was really cool.
Oh, okay.
I wish I had the pictures of me. I looked super cool. I was in 1910, but before he goes to Oz.
Yes. I thought that was the best part of the movie was when it went 1910 and then it just went widescreen and turned to...
Yeah.
That was super magical.
I had a really good time doing that. I was very lucky. Yeah, that was super fun.
Yeah, I was just wondering if that connected to Ash vs. Evil Dead, because that's Sam Raimi as well.
Yeah, no, yes, that is the same person. I mean, yes, I guess in a way. So after I was like, no more reality TV, and I wasn't really doing the touring and stuff with the comedy, was kind of getting tiring. And so I was like, I'm going to start writing. And so I started writing, actually worked on this reality show in New Orleans. It was sort of a horror. It was called 13 Fear is Real.
That sounds like a very convoluted title.
Well, it was sort of trying to play off the Saw kind of thing. So it was like we would bury people alive and yeah.
Oh, cool.
It was interesting. The show wasn't bad. It was being in New Orleans in June in the swamps was quite awful.
God.
And I physically had such a hard time that when I was on the plane going back to LA, I was like, I'm done. And I ended up writing a screenplay about this woman that was working on a reality show in New Orleans, and there were zombies. And it ended up getting a semifinalist at Slam Dance. So I thought, okay, well, I'll focus on this now. So I started writing features and a couple pilots, and one of the pilots ended up getting developed by Silver Pictures. It didn't get bought. So I started to get a little bit of traction like that.
That's awesome.
And when I had heard Ash vs. Evil Dead was happening, I was like, this is my chance to sort of get in the room. And so I knew one of the producers, and I emailed him. I was like, I want to be the writer's assistant. And 2 weeks later, I was
no
the
way
writer's assistant. Yeah.
It's just easy as that, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I mean, I had to write. I had to meet with the showrunner, and they had to read my pilot. I had to have a good pilot ready to go.
Well, right.
When
I said that, I didn't mean any offense. I just meant just sending an email can get you far.
Yes, yeah, it does. It does help to actually
communicate
ask.
with people.
You have to ask. You have to stay in touch with people and then ask them when it comes up, and then be prepared. If they go yes, send us a pilot that you've written so we can see that you can write, which I had, and then meeting with the showrunner and to be sort of not a total weirdo.
Right. It helps to be a weirdo.
A weirdo, but like a good weirdo.
Like a controlled weirdo.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, which comes across as just interesting versus like terrifying. And then I had sat down and I was like, yes, I know all about writer's assistant jobs, and so of course didn't. And then met with a friend of mine who started out as a writer's assistant and is now a TV writer. And so he met with me and I just took notes. He told me everything that was going to happen, and then I went in and was like, yes. And it turns out like nobody really knows all. Like it's not like there's some like great template for writer's assistant. So I pretty much did any way that I decided it was going to be.
Is it sort of like a
great.
PA when it just sort of fills in as like miscellaneous stuff?
There's an office PA, a writer's office PA. There's like the assistant to the showrunner, and then the writer's assistant is just in the room. So all I'm doing is on my computer all day, and everyone's talking about like, what about this? What about this? And I'm just hyping it all up.
By the way,
that's all I ever did. I never, if I wanted a coffee or a tea, like I would text Matt and be like, you got to bring me food. You got to bring me, because I couldn't leave. Like even like timing, I'd be like, there's a lull. They're now just like joking around. I can go to the bathroom, because I learned like in the beginning, I was so like, I don't want to miss anything. Mm-hmm. And then I realized after a while that, people repeat themselves a lot. So it's kind of okay to leave any time because they'll eventually say it again. Or someone really liked something and was afraid I didn't get it. They'll be like, did you get that thing that I said earlier? And I'd be like, yeah, just let me check.
Yeah, repeat it one more time for me. Just like...
Yeah, so I did that. In the second season, I came back as the writer's assistant. There, I realized that there was an episode that the showrunner had not given out to the writers. And so I went to him again, emailing. I emailed him and said, hey, I want to write this episode. And here's a reminder. Here are my 2 pilots. Here's my bio. If there's anyone else that'll be like, if anyone at Stars or at, one of the EPs is like, we don't know if she can do it. Like, here's all the ammunition. Because he was very Craig was so incredible and so incredibly supportive.
By the way, Craig is the showrunner of Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Yes, Craig DiGregorio. And so, I sent him all that, and he really was like, no, I want you to do this. And so, so again, asking and having my materials ready.
You guys were writing an episode for television, starring Bruce Campbell, of course.
Starring Bruce Campbell, yeah.
And by the way, Evil Dead is one of my favorite series. Army of Darkness is my favorite movie. And so originally, how I met Susie was I was talking to Pilar, and there was an Ash vs. Evil Dead episode, and Susie was on. By the way, a link to that will be in the description.
Oh, nice.
And I was just talking to Pilar about it. I'm like, oh man, I really enjoyed the Ashes to Ashes episode. And she's like, would you like to meet Suzanne? I was like, yeah. So I met up with Susie. We started talking, and now she's in my sound closet.
Yeah, that's how that goes. See, another email.
Just sent an email, really.
Now we're in a closet together. And from that, also, Starz decided that they wanted to do a lot of online content to promote the second season.
Right.
So me and Aaron and one of the producers and Matt, who is our office PA, but had written in a lot of like horror shorts and directed horror shorts that they sent the three of us to New Zealand where they shoot the show, and we spent 6 weeks there on the sets with the actors, and we would just go in and write short 2-minute sort of horror shorts, comedy shorts, anything that had to do with the show.
We'll post those in the description too, so people can see.
So I was actually going back to why improv doing improv is so great is then we really wanted Starz. Obviously, everyone wanted Bruce Campbell to do some of the online content, but obviously he is the hardest job on the show, and he's so busy and it's so exhausting for everything he does that Aaron and I were like, what if we do something where it's just security cameras, so we're not, you don't have to there's no takes or anything. And he was like, all right, I'll do it with you. So he and I just basically improvised an entire short that I am this crazy stalker of Bruce Campbell, that I'm obsessed with the fact that he's not Bruce, he's actually Ash. And was all just, we had cameras set up already, so and he was going in to do ADR, and I was like, okay, when you get here, we'll just do a thing. And then we did it.
Okay, so it's not the character of Ash. It was just Bruce Campbell going into the writer's office. Right?
Yeah, he was going into ADR.
Ah, okay. How have I not seen that?
Have you not seen it? I look insane in it. I'm just warning you right now. I am insane in it. But it was really fun. But Jean-Claude talking about, what was really fun about that is because, it wasn't really written out. We just beat it out. Okay, I know Bruce is going to come in, so we'll do all this stuff. He'll come in, and then when he's in the booth doing wild lines, I'm just going to run in and do stuff. And he's such an amazing improviser. And then at one point, I left the room naturally, just worked in the improv, and was like, okay, I knew, stylistically, we needed one more beat. So I just turned to Aaron and I was like, give me a prop. I need to go back in. And I need something to go back in with. And he threw this foam chainsaw at me, and I ran back in the room, and I did it, and we did a thing, and I ran out, and yeah, that was it.
Link to that will be in this description.
I seem like a crazy person. Yeah. In fact, my favorite thing is some people in the comments were like, is this real? I was like, how could this possibly be real?
Yeah, didn't you find the production offices for Ash vs. Evil Dead?
How did Bridget find them?
That's a conspiracy theory that we'll post on our website.
Yeah, I actually even murder someone in it. So the fact that people are like, that can't be real, that she's that even a thought that crossed anyone's mind. I was like, oh, God. People were going, this better not be real, but weren't should we call the authorities? Because maybe.
Shit.
No, that was never anything anyone said. They were just like, oh, I hope that's not real. And why would Starz post that? There just wasn't real thought train.
Starz saw it and they're like, we should bring this to the police, but wouldn't it make good promotional material too?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, there wasn't the people saying that really weren't putting a lot of thought into the.
Speaking of looking like a crazy person, there's a lot of really cool production stuff with Ash vs. Evil Dead. They use puppets, they use a lot of practical effects, and so I was just curious during your Bridget role, how did they decide to do all that makeup and the process of making you into Crazy Bridget?
Oh no, it was just me. They didn't have to do anything. I was just me being crazy.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. Oh, no. I wasn't a deadite or anything. No, I was just crazy. I was just me. It was me. It was do that funny voice you do. It was Do that funny person you do. Oh my God.
That is the title of the episode.
Yeah.
Do that funny voice that you do.
Let's be honest here. Gage was asking what makeup products you use.
Oh.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Are you a MAC person? Are you a...
The blush I'm wearing currently is MAC.
Okay, all right. Okay, cool. I guess that's like a point for me in some respect.
Not only that, but I'm going to bring it back to Oz the Great and Powerful. The reason I'm wearing this blush is because when I was on the set of Oz the Great and Powerful, the makeup artist put this blush on me, and I'm like, this looks really good on me. And she was like, it's MAC, blah, blah, blah. And I ran out and bought it right after. It's a different one. I broke that one, but it's the same blush. And then I always have to tell makeup artists that I'm allergic to purple.
What does that mean?
I'm allergic to the color purple, and I'm allergic to gold. I'm allergic to the royal colors. I don't know why. It makes my eyes swell up, so I always have to tell makeup artists, like, you can't put gold or purple on me. And this brilliant makeup artist, like, actually, there's a line called Lorac that whatever is in purple and gold is not in. She'd said it's like a certain ingredient. So I'm wearing Lorac eyeshadow.
Okay.
I'm wearing a MAC blush.
Okay.
And I love that I know all this. I'm wearing a Stila mascara.
John Claude, are you taking notes?
So the red
Yes.
the red pigment in many high-end eyeshadow formulas actually comes from a scale insect beetle native to South America and Mexico.
Gross.
And it's the red pigment in the eyeshadow or blushes or those kind of things that makes you allergic.
Oh.
He is a doctor.
He is. Well, no, not yet.
Google's a
but-
doctor.
WebMD?
Oh, yes. It also gives everyone cancer, according to WebMD. No.
Oh, yes,
Glamour
I know.
page said that, so that was
Oh.
pretty cool. Sorry. Continue your story. I guess I needed to... You piqued my interest when you said you were allergic to the color purple, and I was like, what must be in that to cause that? So
He's smart. He's a
He's-
thinker. See, he's
one
a
of those-
thinker. He got on the train and was like, I'm going to figure
That's why
this
he's a
out.
good improviser.
Yes. You can use that in an improv now. You could do a whole herald about,
I'm allergic to the color purple.
yes.
I might steal that for tonight.
Do it.
I'm like, oh, how'd this come up to the top of my head?
Yeah, I love it. And now what I've given you really is advertising opportunities for all those makeup products.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Right.
This is sponsored by the color purple.
Ooh,
if you're
Sesame
allergic
Street.
to it,
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
So speaking of makeup, I actually got a cool opportunity today, which kind of ties into a lot of the different aspects we were talking about today. Are either of you familiar with Marvel television shows or things?
yeah, like Luke Cage, Daredevil, Agents of
Jessica
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Jones.
Right.
Jessica Jones,
so
great.
apparently there's a Marvel pilot that's being pitched, and it's called Sleepwalkers, supposedly. And they're filming one of their scenes in St. Pete, Florida, which is about 30 minutes away from where I live. And one of my friends who had actually done special effects makeup with crew sets and things like that from Marvel said, hey, you should try out and see if you can be an extra on one of these shots. So I applied, sent in some things, my height, my sex, my name, all those kind of good details that they like to know.
Yeah.
What's that thing called? A name?
And they sent me back and they said, yeah, we'd love to have you. Come on down, be here at 7:30 on Saturday. And you will be a New York pedestrian coming out of a classroom building.
Awesome.
But they were saying that I have to come already camera ready in makeup and things like that. So I have to figure out how to put on makeup.
You know what I'm obsessed with? I don't know if you'll need this, but I'm obsessed with BB cream.
What is
BB
that?
cream.
Explain.
Yes. So BB cream, it was a Korean sort of beauty product that took off. And it's basically like tinted moisturizer. And you can put a little bit of that on. You're a guy, you don't really need anything else. Just make sure you're not shiny and you'll be fine.
Awesome. So actually,
Yeah.
my question to you is, for someone who's coming in just as an extra or something like that,
Yes.
but looking to, I don't know, make those connections, talk to the right people, what's some advice that you could give both to me and maybe some potential actors that listen to the podcast or things like that going into sets?
I would bring a couple different outfits.
Okay.
I always think of everything as like being as helpful as you can. And it's like sort of like being a producer, like, you know what I mean? Like you go and you're like, this looks really New York to me. And then you might find like wardrobe stylist might have like, you might be in like black and the wardrobe and everything. And, her mind background is like red or green or whatever. So if you have a couple options, that might really be like, oh, that's super helpful that I don't, So I always think things that you can be helpful, but not be too intrusive. So just be really positive, really be a great listener, like hit your marks. That's always important. Don't look at the camera. One of my favorite things is watching background actors in anything when you're like, oh, that person couldn't help themselves. They looked at the camera.
At risk of sounding a little mean.
Yeah.
Oh, not to you,
Oh, yeah,
but
okay.
did you see the Dunkirk trailer where the extras look super awkward? And I'm like, this is a Christopher Nolan film. They couldn't get, like, reasonable extras.
So it's like, it's a terrible thing, like, be natural. Be helpful, but not intrusive. Being an extra sometimes can feel a little like cattle callish. They'll be like, everyone go over here. But you never know. I did extra work back in the day because that's a good way to get your SAG card. And if you get a couple of vouchers, 3 vouchers, I think you need. And so one time, it just so happened that I looked like the lead actress. And so instead of being, one of a bunch of extras, I ended up getting to be her camera double.
Wow.
Yeah. And I did that like 3 times and ended up becoming SAG eligible. Honestly, it's like good attitude. Just embrace it. Because you can go in and be like a lot of people like extra work is terrible because I feel like cattle and they're just pushing us around. It's like, yeah, but it's really cool. You're on a TV show. You gotta just embrace it, have fun, be as prepared. Like for something like that, and they say you're a New York person, like I would grab a few outfits. I would be early. Everyone likes, not even on time. Be early because sometimes
Early is on time for people.
Well, and this has happened to a friend of mine said this to me once, and I really took it to heart, and I'm always conscious of this, and it has worked out for me. It's like sometimes you'll be like, okay, my call is at 8, but get there at 7:30, because then you can also eat, because they'll have food there. But also a lot of times, often, something will happen about the lead actor isn't ready. We could shoot this one scene of this guy walking out, but he's not here yet. Well, we have someone else that did show up early. We'll give them that part. So if you're there, if you're listening, if you're near set, out of the way, but near set, you could be the person that people are like, oh, great, that guy is still here, and that guy wasn't annoying. Like, that guy was, like, cool and chill. Let's make him this, or let's give him that line, or whatever,
Right, you could have some
is.
diva supporting actors.
Or not even that, but it's like, just if you're available and you're cool, people will choose you.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. I'm just saying for, like, bit parts.
You mean
Oh.
if they say give you a line or something?
Yeah, if they give you a line or something.
Well, because that's a big deal if you get a line, because then you're...
I've never acted on, like, a real set, so I have no idea what I'm talking
Getting
about.
a line is a big deal, because then you get... If you're not SAG, then I think that they have to Taft-Hartley. So it's a big deal if they do it, but you never know if the person that had that one line didn't show up that day or was late or whatever, and you're standing there and you were chatting with the AD and the AD thought you were cool, they might be like, let's just give it to that guy.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Okay. So did that answer your question?
It did. Thank you so much for the advice. I mean, worst case scenario, I sleep with the head of production.
Is that really the worst case?
So, for me, in this, dry season over here, it's the best case scenario.
Yeah, that sounds like a great day.
It's a great gig you got there.
Yeah.
It's the goddamn sexual Sahara.
Yeah, so honestly, it's like the best advice I can say is just enjoy it and just embrace that you get to be there and on set. And, it's like being on set's kind of boring. There's like a lot of setting up where you're just sitting around. But even the other extras, there's going to be so many people there that you never know what they're doing or what their story is. And if you let it be, it can be a really fun, cool experience.
Now I want to go on set.
I'm a big promoter of just talking to people in general and socializing for the most part. So, and this is something that I've never done before, and it was just a cool opportunity to snatch up. So, yeah. I'm gonna take it with very low expectations, but high attitudes.
Yes.
I don't know if that made sense. All right, Gage, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Send us pictures. We want to see you on set.
Send
Ooh.
pics where it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to get both of your numbers.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh. And, that's the other thing, too, is like if someone isn't busy, I wouldn't necessarily do this with the actors, but like the crew isn't necessarily always appreciated. Everyone wants to talk to the actors and stuff, but like thanking the ADs, thanking the people that, had you there and that told you where to go, even if they were sort of douchey or no one's douchey, they're just busy and they're all worried about their job. So like at the end of the day, like saying thank you, I had a really fun time. That was really cool. And you're great at, it's like fun watching what you do.
Oh, man.
Goes a long way.
That does go a long way. Actually, I was talking to a friend this morning, and she's like, yeah, I'm handing out handwritten thank you cards to some interviewers. And I'm like, that's awesome. That shows that you really appreciate the opportunity that they're presenting you.
Yeah, people love to be acknowledged.
Yeah, short tangent here, but you know who has like a reputation of doing that? Apparently, Gary Busey has a reputation of getting everyone's name on set and thanking them all at the end of the production.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and you would have never guessed it was Gary Busey.
No, you wouldn't have, but good on him.
Good on you, Buse.
Yeah.
What was the other thing? Oh, yes. We were talking about Tales of the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt. See, we were talking about the title because I can't pronounce it.
Yes.
But yeah, it's known for its puns.
Okay.
And I wanted to see if I could have a pun contest with you.
Pun off?
A pun off, yeah. John Claude, you want to get in on this pun off?
I mean, oh, do you want me to officiate it, or do you want me to join in?
Oh,
You
join
better
in.
join in.
Join in, yeah.
We're all, if this ship is going down, the three of us are going with it.
Okay, all right.
All right.
How do you start a pun?
Well, let's.
A pun party.
I was thinking we could make it horror themed.
Oh, a horror thing. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking we could do a horror theme since Tales from the Crypt.
Okay.
And it'll be a bone-chilling good time.
Oh, okay. Is that a pun?
Or more
just
like a play on words.
Yeah, or that's just words. Those are just adjectives, right? Is that what? That's not. What's a pun? I know what a pun is. All right, who's starting? Jean-Claude, you start. You start.
Apparently, I don't know.
Do we
what a
just
pun
start
is.
with the pun? Do we just start punning?
Okay.
This is working out great.
Gage, I've got a bone to pick with you.
Is that a pun?
I don't know. He said bones before, so.
No, but right, a pun is like 7 deadly zins. Like if we were doing wine puns, right? It would be
yeah.
7 deadly zins. That's a pun,
Oh.
right? Oh, okay. Like bone home.
E.T. Bone Home.
Yeah. Like that's a porn pun, but okay. Right? Am I doing this wrong?
Yes,
Have I
yeah.
I've
ruined
never
your
had a pun off before.
Have I ruined the pun? I'm so
God,
sorry.
everything's falling apart.
This was going so well, and now
No,
we're boned.
See,
you brought
is
it
that
back.
a pun?
You brought it
is that a pun? Oh, I guess it is, because
No, it's not a pun.
You're really knocking us dead.
it's just clever wordplay.
Not a pun.
See, okay, a pun, noun, a joke exploiting the different possible meanings of a word or fact.
Oh, I actually don't know what a pun is. Wait, what? Will you repeat that?
Yeah, noun, a joke exploiting the different possible meanings of a word or the fact that there are words that sound alike but have different meanings.
Oh, so
See,
you're
we
actually
were doing
right.
puns.
You were. I ruined it.
you were getting me confused with all the pun talk.
You're right. I should be axed.
Yeah. God.
Yeah?
You should really define where you're standing.
Wait,
Wait.
what?
Does that
No.
work? No, it doesn't work at all.
This is
Killing it. We're killing it. God. Stop.
No,
Yeah.
this is a bad idea.
It was a horrible idea.
This is dead
Dead in the water, man. Dead in the water.
This is grave.
Yeah, grave consequences are happening. By the way, Suzanne, would you like to come on our improv cast? Now is an excellent time to ask that.
Now that I've ruined you.
I swear I'm better at improv than I am at pun.
Yeah,
You're actually asking me to do something after this dreadful. I didn't even yes and. I was like, yes and no. This is terrible. You're not doing pun. I am the world's worst improviser. You want to do puns? You're doing puns incorrectly. No, I don't want to be on. I would ruin it. I'm ruining it now. I've ruined this. I took this ship down. I
just keep doing the voice that you do.
I know. Right?
Yeah, you're doing an
What
excellent
voice?
job at
What
it.
voice? I don't understand the voice.
Do you think Charlie Day gets that a lot? Because he usually gets like high pitched when he gets frustrated, and people are like, "Do that voice that you do."
And he's like, I don't.
You mean just like my regular voice?
Yeah. I'm cementing. No, I'll stop.
The puns are frying our brain.
I can't stop now. I can't stop thinking about terrible.
Terrible puns.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I have one more question, and for the rest of the episode, shove as many puns in there as possible. Okay. Don't feel. Never mind. Don't feel pressured for the puns.
I do. Go ahead.
Don't feel punctured.
Okay.
So, yeah, the one last question I wanted to ask is where do you want to go as an artist or as a writer or as an actor?
Oh my God, you sound like my mother. Where do I want to go? Where do I see myself in 5 years? Obviously,
I was going for overall.
I love. What do I love to do? God, I just want to
You like to do everything,
giant
apparently.
home in the south of France and eat cheese and talk about
you know
the
what?
good old
I did
days.
read that on your website.
Yes.
You love cheese.
I do love cheese.
Yeah, just quick sidebar. How many cheese puns can you put in here? Are there any Gouda?
Don't be a monster. No, that's terrible.
Ooh, that satisfies both requirements. It was a horror pun and it was a cheese pun. Very nice. There you go. You met your quota for the day. You get to live.
You met your pun quota.
Thanks, guys. You know what? I just love performing and I love writing and I just love the arts. And so for me, if someone would pay me to, or not even pay me to write and to act, I don't act very much anymore just because I'm focusing more on writing. But perfect world, I'll be writing and creating my own shows and steering my own ship. And yeah, that's the goal.
That's ideal, yeah. That's ideal.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much the same way. I just want to tell stories no matter what the medium.
Yeah, me too. And that's the thing too. Like I love TV and features, but also I've been thinking about writing a play. This seems really appealing to me.
I would
Just
love to do a
writing.
play. I would love to, because that constrains you, but at the same time, normally plays are a little bit longer than movies, and normally it relies on the actors and their volume. So yeah, that would be a fascinating experiment.
Yes. Was that it?
No, I was
trying to
just
do a pun?
emphasizing the X in experiment.
Okay. And yes, because that's a great thing too, is like no matter
Now
what.
you're just on pun watch. You're just like,
I was like, was he trying to do a pun? Was that a pun? Should I have done one? Yeah, and that's the great thing too about being an artist is it's like not age. You don't have to retire. You can do it forever, and I think that's like, so cool. You know,
Look at Ridley Scott and Patrick Stewart
Stephen King and
and Stephen King.
Right?
Patrick Stewart's doing the poop emoji at 76.
I saw that. You know
Good
what?
for him.
Good for him.
yeah.
I'd be a poop emoji.
I would play a poop emoji.
Yeah.
That'd be no
Jean
problem.
Claude, you poop emoji.
Oh,
Standard.
Mr. Doctor with the standards.
Double standards? Is that what you said?
No, just regular
That you
standards.
have standards.
Oh, standards. Oh, yes. Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not familiar with the Patrick Stewart poop emoji joke that you're going on, so I would have hated to say yes and not know what I was getting myself into.
He just got cast in the Emoji movie as a piece of poop.
There's an emoji movie?
Oh, okay, yeah. Back up a second. There is an Emoji movie.
Okay, well then, yeah, of course. If I got to be on the same level as Patrick Stewart being a poop emoji, why not?
Right.
All right, so I think it's time for final thoughts.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah. Final thoughts? Susie.
Oh, I just have to have a final thought?
Okay, we can come back to you.
Okay.
We can come back to you. Jean-Claude, final thoughts.
Okay, so just to give a little bit of foresight or input into this, as I've been doing in the past episodes, Final Thoughts is basically just kind of reflecting back on everything that we talked about over this past episode and just of giving either a summation of what you think or a little pearl of wisdom that you might have for our listeners. So mine would be, even if it's completely out of your comfort zone, don't be afraid to try new opportunities and talk to everyone because you'll meet some cool people out there. And they might help you out.
Oh,
I like that. Cage.
my final thought, just basically what Jean-Claude said, I'm serious. What I took away from this podcast is pretty much what Jean-Claude took away. Just talk to people, don't be afraid of rejection, and give hugs to people because people like hugs.
You know what? I'm going to say this is not my final thought.
Okay.
But ask first if you can give them a hug because people don't like.
Oh, unwarranted hugs are the worst.
So ask before you give hugs and then give hugs. I think I want to add too is that you don't have to limit yourself, as I think all of us were talking about, is we all do a lot of different things from improv to trigonometry to podcasting to writing. You don't have to limit yourself by making one choice or saying, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a writer, and then that's all I can do.
Right.
There's always opportunity to use all of those skills in other things. And all of those things that you go, well, I want to be a writer, but I've only done this. All of those skills help you in anything else you want to do. And don't forget that because that makes you unique.
That's awesome. I really like that final thought. That's one of our most profound thoughts in a while.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the podcast, or as I like to call it, Puncast.
No.
Oh, God.